This spacious, pretty neighborhood of townhouses gives few outward clues that what you're actually seeing is one of the very few Christian communes in America. If the word commune makes you think of a bunch of old hippies living out in the woods and smoking weed, then you'd be surprised at just how nice is this commune called the BARTIMAEUS community in Bremerton, Washington. This isn't Woodstock, this isn't lean-tos in the forest, this is what's called an intentional neighborhood, made up mostly of middle and upper middle class Christians who just had it with the distant, cut-off way many Americans live. They hungered for what many Bible believers do, that lifestyle reflected in Acts chapter 2. And they decided to do something about it. Buy a 7-acre chunk of beautiful land and build a place that in all sorts of ways encourages a close-knit, neighborly, more communal lifestyle, where fellowship is always just a few feet away. Nancy Conrad and Barbara BUCKHAM were in a women's prayer group where the idea for BART community sprang up. It took many years and trials, but still they say the Lord came through over and over again in what community members call a slow-motion miracle.
I'm stupefied that this is here.
Barb is especially happy with the community's focus.
Far from being a little bless me club that kind of huddles together, we want to be an ungated community that is here not only for ourselves, for our own growth, but for our community.
It's not to be a holy huddle.
Joel ADAMSON's family had lived in a cluster of missionary families overseas and said it was such a witness they wanted to continue it here.
By the Christians living in love together in community, it was an example to the community.
This includes setting one of the BART community's units aside for a homeless family.
And we're able to get one family at a time on their feet. And they can stay for a year.
It had been, for me, kind of a lifelong dream to get involved in something like this.
But lifelong theology student Guy Coe knew from studying communes for decades that most hit pitfalls.
Maybe too authoritarian a structure, or mandating that you must share a common purse.
But BART community works without a leader and only by consensus.
We listen to everybody's opinion. Nobody gets overruled.
There is a different facilitator every meeting. There is no one leader.
One thing members agreed to, work days and some common meals.
Normally I wouldn't like to weed, but I really look forward to getting out there with 20 of my friends and we're all working together and we all have lunch together. It's just a blast.
Whereas if you have your own home, you sort of have to do it all by yourself.
Tuesday night, it's volunteer group meal, and Saturday morning, and then every other Friday we have a potluck.
These all happen in the gigantic Common House, which wasn't always the name of this huge building at the heart of the community.
We called it the Mother House just because we didn't have a word for it.
Besides the Common House's dining room, there's a rec room with a flat-screen TV, a big playroom for the kids, and a library that's home to many group meetings.
There's a recovery group that meets there. There's a prayer group that meets there. There's a Greek class.
Every single night I can walk over to the Common House at 9 o'clock and there's people there that I can pray with.
The design of BART community facilitates this spiritual intimacy and lifestyle of close contact. Check out the way the pods of townhouses all have really wide porches that stretch up close to the homes they face. And notice there are no streets to cut off contact. Here, cars are relegated to a lot just outside the community, and pleasant paths connect all the homes to each other and generous common areas. The pods surround a big playground kids can reach from their home in seconds.
So that kids can run and play and you don't have to be afraid of the kids being hit by vehicles and things like that.
Guy Coe's son loves it.
He can come right out the door and play with kids his own age, and then a variety of kids.
Out back sit 3 acres of forest the community preserved, where members can wander the wilderness and get away from it all, only a few dozen yards from their front doors.
We have some nature trails out there. There's a creek there.
Between the forest and houses, there's plenty of land and water. BART community puts a high premium on such variety and beauty, from the generously large rooms inside the ultramodern homes to the generous mix of ages.
Our youngest is 4 and my parents live here and my dad's 89, so that's our age range.
Sometimes the mixing and the closeness can get a little too close.
The normal solution being you climb back in your car and you gossip about each other on the way home in the car. You know, here it's got to take the form of, okay, how do we approach so-and-so about this or that?
But these occupants of intentional housing have learned to be intentional about guarding their space.
We'll put a sign up on the door, do not disturb.
Then there's that big field out back and the 3 acres of deep forest.
There's places to go here where you could get away and be by yourself.
So if you think communal living means sacrificing a whole lot of privacy and space, well, look at all they have here at BARTIMAEUS. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Bremerton, Washington.